electrical pole removals and moving. I mean, I know that they were a big problem for us in the tunnel, which ran over. So how are we gonna handle that differently? I know they say as soon as you pay them, they're gonna, you know, put it on their calendar, whatever, but clearly we've not been bad about paying things, but they didn't get it done last time. What are we doing to address this differently?
Unfortunately, it's been a lot of pushing again. It's been over a year that I've been trying to get that dollar number, and I just recently got it and passed it on to Mr. Womack. So with today's approval, we'd like to get that check and hand it to DTE as soon as possible, as well as the signed agreement, so that that part's done. The city's not holding it up any further. And then I'll be badgering them on the telephone to make sure that's on their schedule. Unfortunately, they're the only game in town. I have to work with them.
Ms. Petrie.
I think this is for Kelly. I just have one question, Kelly. It says, it's the city of Lapeer's intent to issue and sell the general obligation capital improvement bond. It's our intent, but what if, worst case scenario, we didn't? We have to have that money, so what's our chances of? Tell me 99.
So the bond is an amount not to exceed $3,750,000. If the city is unable to move forward with that bonding, the city will not be moving forward with this project.
Okay, that, I just wanted to,
That's why it's all one agenda item.
okay, I appreciate that.
Thank you. Yes, Ms. Glisson.
Thank you. One of the things that I did is I wanted to look up the reviews on the Deponio company, and the reviews on the internet are, to put it mildly, they're quite terrible. And Mr. O'Meara has told us that this would affect about 50 of our citizens with the parking lot and the street. And I'm thinking, Mr. Deponio, whoever is running the company, needs to know that we want the workers that show up for this to be polite and courteous to our residents, because some of the people said that they were treated so poorly and that they were driving on their grass and a whole bunch of things. And it wasn't just one or two. There was a series of complaints. So I'm trusting you, Mr. O'Meara, that you are confident with this company and that they do a good job, but while they're doing a good job, I expect professionalism and politeness out of all those employees, and I hope they get the word. Okay, thank you.
Any other comments, discussion? All right, seeing none, we will move to a roll call vote.
Commissioner Petrie,
Yes.
Commissioner Atwood,
Yes.
Commissioner Brady,
Yes.
Commissioner Glissman,
Yes.
Commissioner McCarthy.
Yes.
Motion carries. That brings us to the city manager's report. Mr. Womack.
For goodness, that was quick. Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I've added a discussion item here regarding SDRK Group LLC appeal. As the Commission's aware, but for the public's knowledge, SDRK Group is a marijuana grower in their community. They have 2 licenses that were up for renewal, and the city staff denied those license renewals based upon our belief that they were in violation of our ordinances. Under our ordinances, the applicant or the licensee has the right to appeal the decision of city staff to the city commission. There is no strict provision within the ordinances, though, about exactly how that is to occur. So after discussing the matter with the city attorney, and of course he's here to provide counsel to the board, contrary to maybe what I might say, I guess my recommendation would be that we set a appeal hearing date for the next regular meeting, which I believe is the 17th. And then, Mr. Chair, under the city's policies and procedures, you have the authority to issue or allow any group to have, I believe it's 10 minutes to make a presentation. That might be an appropriate length of time for SDRK Group to give an oral presentation about their thoughts and beliefs regarding their appeal. Of course, SDRK Group has already submitted a written appeal, which they could supplement between now and the 17th. But I think that might be an appropriate way to move forward. And then, of course, the city would likewise, like to have an option to respond to that.
Okay.
Mr. Francis, does that sound fair and appropriate to you?
Yes, I agree, Mr. Roman.
Thank you. All right. Mr. Womack, would you, I guess going from here, would you recommend that we put forth a motion to set the appeal hearing at the next regular meeting on 2/17? President's Day is on Monday.
That would be my recommendation, yes.
Okay. Before we set a motion and have to take it back and set a different date, do any of the commissioners have any questions that would affect the motion that's going to be presented in terms of the next regular meeting? Any types of questions? Would you rather see it on a different date or a special meeting or something like that? And we can maybe make sure we're all on the same page there, then we'll present a motion. Ms. McCarthy?
I have a question for clarity. So this would be our regular meeting, and then they would be tacked onto it either somewhere in the middle of it or at the end of it, something of that nature?
Well, they would come into our agenda right at public hearing, so it'd be section F.
Right
And
away,
as long as we,
okay.
yep, as long as we don't have any other public hearings, they'd be F1.
And so this would be rather than having a designated special meeting just for them, so there's.
Correct.
Just covering that topic.
So in terms of addressing or providing for a public hearing, which, as Mr. Womack stated, they've already submitted a written one. This is an opportunity for them to be heard publicly. We could either do it at the next regular meeting in the middle of regular business, or we could set a special hearing for specifically that topic. Please.
I just need one more piece of clarity about the 10 minutes that they get to speak. Is that per person
No.
It would be for the group.
for the group? So 10 minutes for the group. Okay, so
Yep.
time limit wise, it wouldn't be 30 people speaking for 10 minutes each. That's
Correct.
what I was trying to, thank you.
Yep. Ms. Petrie?
So if they had a group of 10 in that group, we would limit it still, a minute.
Yeah, so according to our you want to do it?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
This isn't a public hearing as we might have taken public hearings in the past. You'll have your standard public comment. SDRK has the right to appeal, which they're doing. This is commission's consideration. We're using the word hearing a little bit differently. It is a hearing, but it's not a public hearing. So they would have under your rules if granted 10 minutes, and it's in addition to anything they might supplement in writing. But it's not a public hearing as maybe we're used to thinking of a public hearing.
It's a formality that we're providing, and we've talked about it in the closed session, and
Right.
so.
But then our response as a commission would not be on the same day.
No,
If I may,
yes.
we're not, I don't believe we're obligated to respond on the same day. If the commission would grant a tabling motion at the conclusion, then it would provide the city the ability to respond at a different day.
Any other questions?
I have one for Mr. Francis. Mr. Francis, do you recommend putting it in regular business at a regular meeting?
Oh, I think, I'm sorry to interrupt, convenience sake, I would prefer that all the commission members be present, and I think that a regular meeting's easier to make that happen. So
Okay.
I don't have an issue, legally, there's not an issue either way.
Okay.
Okay. Mr. Atwood?
Could we allow them more than 10 minutes if we make some sort of change
I think,
for that meeting?
I think-
I don't feel comfortable with just giving them 10
Yeah.
minutes.
I think because it's a special consideration that we're making, we're not obligated to. Mr. Womack and Mr. Francis have talked at quite some length about this particular offering, right? Are you guys prepared to answer in terms of how that affects, because policy in a public hearing, someone representing a group could speak 10 minutes, but then individuals still would be able to speak 3 minutes. Is that correct? Or,
Yeah, so as Mr. Francis indicated, we'd have our normal public comments, they can talk about whatever they want. But I would agree, this is not a public hearing. I only present the 10-minute option is because that's something that's already written into our policies and procedures. Under the ordinances, it doesn't say anything about the appeal or how long we have to give them.
yeah,
10 minutes is appropriate, in my opinion. The chair, if you wish, you could extend that to 15 or whatever amount. But, you know, at some point, we want to give them 6 hours. That's probably not appropriate.
Right.
So I guess my recommendation would be 10 minutes, but Mr. Chair, if you feel otherwise, that's probably within your purview.
I think in some respects, we have talked about this. I don't know the details when you guys got together after Mr. Womack, you and I were finished with our conversation. You said you were going to do some follow-up with Mr. Francis, and I didn't get, looped back in after that. But if we did 10 minutes, the 3 minutes in regular public comments, if someone came in with interest of this particular topic, it's part of regular meeting, they can speak at any of the first or the second public comment. I think for purposes of the hearing and what the city is trying to offer as a gesture of goodwill, because we're not obligated really to do it this way, we could limit the public hearing just to those 10 minutes for whoever the representative is, and then allow for the public comments to be used by individuals.
Can I just clarify one thing?
Sure.
I would call it more due process than goodwill,
Okay.
but I do think it's entirely appropriate that they get some
Yeah.
period of time to give their version of, for due process
Yeah.
purposes.
And if we were to do something like 15 minutes for whoever that group representative is, do we need to make a vote on that, or is that something that you would leave to the discretion of the chair at that meeting?
It's probably within your purview, but of course, it never hurts to have democratic consensus either.
Okay. Mr. Atwood, does that answer all of your questions?
I mean, I'm still not comfortable with limiting them to 10 minutes because they could really take over public comment, which they could do anyways, but,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they could fill the room up with 3 minutes or, I don't know, to me, I'm just putting myself in their position, and I would probably want to have a little bit more than 10 minutes, but
What
I
would
understand
you
it's-
recommend?
at least 20. I mean, and a
Okay.
lot of times when we're talking up here, we get, I think, a half hour
Mhm.
debate time. I understand we want to move the business along as well, and maybe they don't need more than 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but if we offered them 20, they have the option to take up that whole time and not have to try to dilute public comments with a handful of 3-minute.
Right, and they might choose, that's their discretion, but.
Yeah, I like that. I made a note of it so that when we get to that point, that should be something I would consider extending that. Thank you. Mr. Brady?
Yeah, well, I guess we're continuing to discuss kind of beforehand, but are we inviting the public at large to talk during this time? My understanding was that we're gonna get their written report, we're all gonna read it. Oh, I've already read it. You guys have got it, right? We're gonna give them the opportunity to stress whatever points they want to. And then, I'm not really all that interested in other, regular public or anybody that they might bring outside of the public comment time. We're just giving them a hearing of their appeal that they've already made. And up to 20 minutes sounds fine to me, but, we'll have read, I've already read you guys' appeal, so it's we just want to make sure that we're giving the due process.
Yeah, thank you for the clarity. The clarification is good. I think we're all on the same page. That's exactly what we're offering for that particular public hearing, which is kind of in a special format for the appeal. Any others? Commissioner McCarthy?
I have 2 questions.
Yep.
All on the same topic. So, for clarity, if I understand, public comments in the beginning, somewhere in this general public whatever is where this section is, and they get to get their 10, 15, 20 minutes, and then public comments at the end. So them having the 10, 15, 20-minute segment as a item where they speak does not negate them from having other people speak in public comments before and after. Correct?
Mhm.
And then number 2, when they're in their 15 to 20-minute presentation, are we allowed to ask them questions at that time, or is it just a listening mode? I don't know, I'm just asking.
I'm going to defer that question
I
to
hope that.
Mr. Francis, because we've touched on this topic, haven't we?
Yes, you're not prohibited from asking questions. My thought would be this is their time to present to you their position. And just on the timing issue, It's not unusual for time restrictions. I'm not suggesting what I'm about to say is an appropriate one, but for example, at the Court of Appeals, you're limited to a half hour, and you generally got to reserve time for rebuttal because you get back and forth there. So setting a time limit, this is really sort of their oral argument in the legal words with respect to their appeal. Setting a time limit's normal, whatever wants to happen. But yes, I think this is their time to present more than anything else.
Mr. Francis, on that, just to follow up,
Yeah.
do you feel that 20 minutes is sufficient and would be appropriate for this setting?
Yeah, I have read their appeal. The issues are very important to everybody, but there are not a significant amount of them, right? There's not 10 reasons that it was denied. I've read the appeal. I think it could be done in certainly under 20 minutes, yes.
Okay.
I'm not the one presenting, but that would be my opinion.
If we offer 20, it's more than enough.
I believe so.
Okay. And and Mr. Womack, would that be considerate in terms of due process? And you don't feel that anything would have been left out at that point on the city's part?
I certainly wouldn't go above 20 minutes.
Okay. Very good. Any other questions? All right. I think that we're ready to entertain a motion. The chair would entertain a motion to set the SDRK Group LLC appeal hearing date for February 17th, 2026 at our next regular meeting.
So moved.
Mr. Moved by Commissioner Brady, support by Commissioner Petrie. We'll take a roll call vote for that.
Commissioner Atwood,
Yes.
Commissioner Brady.
Yes.
Commissioner Glistman,
Yes.
Commissioner McCarthy,
Yes.
Commissioner Petrie.
Yes.
Motion carries. Mr. Womack, do you have any other
Yeah, a
reports
couple
for
of
us today?
short ones. I would just comment that Mr. Hing and Ms. Petrie and I met with the organizers for the Bike Night event. I thought it was a pretty good meeting. It was very productive. We did not come to consensus, of course, because we don't know what the commission might vote on. I had a couple conversations with various commission members. I haven't been able to talk to all the commission members yet. I hope to do that either today or tomorrow. You know, we're still fighting for the event, and I know both parties have their concerns, but we're trying. We are. So I was very happy we were able to have that meeting last Friday. HTIF, obviously this is going to be one of those things that just moving forward, it's going to be important that we all understand kind of what it all means. Sam Moore of the LDC and I are in contact with Fleece and Vanderbrink. We're hoping to hire them to put together kind of a more professional package and educational materials, both for the city commission and for the public. Because of course, while Allen Edmund Homes could ask for what they want to ask for, it doesn't mean we have to give it to them. But I do think that generally speaking, construction of neighborhoods with road, water, and sewer is prohibitively expensive right now. So, and of course, this is a policy consideration for the council, not for staff, but we do want to present you with the materials so that you guys understand kind of what the reality of the situation is. So I'm working with Sam Moore on that. We should have that by your next meeting. And then I would just bring something up and perhaps yield the floor, Mr. Chair, if you would permit. I have a note here about America 250 updates. I believe we have a subcommittee, or maybe Ms. Glistman, you could just kind of update us, because at some point, city staff might be involved and this might be a budgetary item. So I'd like to hear, Mr. Chair, if you'll permit, an update on the America 250 project.
Yes.
No?
Yes,
I
please.
was gonna do that in my commissioner comments. We are having a meeting a week tonight at the rec build, no, excuse me, at the recreation building on the lower level. And we have about 20 plus, a little over 20 people who are attending. We are trying to fill in a calendar so that we can do something every month. And I would love for any of the directors or employees who are interested to attend. We do have Jennifer Watson from Kelly's department who attends, and she is awesome. She is so totally awesome. She's with the Daughters of the American Revolution, and there's a flyer on the back where it says America 250 explaining what they're doing on February 21st. It's a Saturday, 12 to 3 with kids. It's a scavenger hunt, and they will have ladies and gentlemen dressed in period costumes, being from George Washington, Martha Washington, Thomas Jefferson, all these different characters where the children can interact and ask questions of these people. The other thing that the DAR has planned, and that will be in September, and it's going to be a class on how to fold the flag, and it's for children, so all the kids will get their own smaller flag and learn what each of the folds means. I think that that's pretty awesome. We're still working on what exactly projects we would like for the city to do and how much money we're gonna get. We're kind of waiting for that meeting where we have a budget. I would hope to ask for around $15,000 for the 250 celebration. Most of the suggestions for what we do in the city are things that are long-lasting, that you would put in the city and commemorate America 250, but they're going to last for a while. Also, talked to some of the business owners at downtown, and they're willing to, work with us to come up with a good idea for the residents who don't go away for the 4th of July to have a picnic on Main Street. I have the minutes for all of this and a list of over 50 ideas that have been submitted, from flagpoles to a gala, and the gala would be handled by the Historic Courthouse Society. Said it wrong?
Friends of the Lapeer County Historic Courthouse.
Okay, Friends of the Historic Courthouse. And Lynn is a member of that, along with Judge Barnard. Those plans are kind of in the works. We have lots of details to figure out for that. Excuse me. Judge Laura Barnard's husband is a member of the Sons of the American Revolution, and he is also bagpiper, or bagpipist, however you say it. And he will be donating his time for the different events. Nita Payne will have a parade, America 250 theme, when she does the Lapeer Days. We will probably have other parades not on that day, either with children or with bagpipes or with people who are going to be dressed as our revolutionary patriots. So I apologize for not bringing a list, but I will bring a list for anybody who's interested, and I really would hope that more of the employees would want to be involved, because it's going to be a lot of fun. Melissa Petrie's on the committee also, and she co-chairs it with me. So if you have some ideas that you would like to have incorporated into this big celebration, let me know. Also, I see Brian sitting over there, and he gave us information about what his library is doing. Unfortunately, I had to miss the one in Rochester where it was commemorative America 250. Did you go to that one? I'm not supposed to ask questions? No, that was supposed to be fabulous. They held it both in Rochester and Clarkston. It's a mobile historic museum, kind of a mobile thing. So, do I have any questions? Yes, but
I think, is there anything that is like budgetary or contractual obligation to the staff that we're trying to propose? Like, do you have anything that this board needs to do at this point?
not at this point, I don't, no.
All right.
Everybody's been a volunteer, Jennifer Watson's been a volunteer, and she's an employee here. Nobody so far has.
I just mean if you were looking to get a certain dollar amount or something like that.
We, you know what, we probably will need money down the road for Rodney, because we asked Rodney to do a lot of the things, you know, in the parks. And if we do go ahead and are able to purchase the flagpoles that some of the people want, and the committee to be placed on the east and west side of the city, there's always the company would, you know, put in the pole, but there's always maintenance down the road, so that would be something Rodney's team, I'm thinking, maybe would have to do. Am I wrong?
Yes, that's a long-term consideration, but I think Mr. Brady's asking about current year budget obligations. And if I could just expand on that just slightly. So, you and I have talked about $15,000, and I've expressed that to the finance director, so we're planning to do that, but I just do want to make sure that we make sure that, you know, my staff is paid for their time. And if we're gonna have fire, police, you know, other people out there as part of this event, we will have to take that into consideration, either as part of the 15,000 or in addition to.
Okay. Got it.
Commissioner Atwood?
So I guess what organizations is operating under? Is it a nonprofit or?
No, we don't have a nonprofit specifically for the America 250. Mr. Womack and I have been talking about it, and he said, why don't you chair and get people who are interested, and so far it's been all volunteers. Some of the volunteers who are working for us are representing their own nonprofits, so they are self-funding whatever they're doing. This is more or less, part of it is more or less, I hate using this term, garbage in, garbage out. What is your group planning to do? How can we help you? Just advertise like I'm doing here, advertising for the different groups. So it's information gathering and then marketing this out. Those costs I've incurred all those costs so far in terms of printing materials and handling the meetings, any of the supplies that we've needed. I've just paid for it so far, and I'm not asking the city to be reimbursed. This is something I believe in and I care about, and I care about the city, I care about my country, and I want everybody to be good patriots. So.
Go ahead.
So how does this, I'm not trying to be a pain, but how does the city give $15,000 towards this if it's not a nonprofit? Like, I think ethically speaking, I don't know how.
If I could.
Yeah.
So, it's one of the reasons I've asked for the update today is because, you know, while I've been told $15,000, I haven't been told what it's gonna go towards. And I would reiterate, you know, and Ms. Blissman and I have been in communication on some of these things, but eventually there's gonna have to be a special event application of some kind submitted under the name of some group, which then would have to be able to carry the insurance necessary for what we require under our policies. As far as the city putting $15,000 to it, it's one of the very few events that the city can put money towards. I believe it's Veterans Day, Memorial Day, and 4th of July. So that's less of the issue, but $15,000 honestly doesn't go a long way. So I just want to make sure that we're making judicious use of that. And Ms. Glissman's done an excellent job kind of organizing the various groups, but we do need an umbrella group at some point to submit an application for approval.
Thank you. Mr. Womack?
I have 2 points. So the first point is I'm the president of the Friends of the Lapeer Historic Courthouse. And I have talked to Commissioner Glissman that for the picnic, if it's still being held on the courthouse lawn, then the Friends, who is a 501c3, will get the application for that picnic on the courthouse lawn from the county. Not saying there's costs involved, but when I do it, they don't charge you. When you do it, there's a rental fee. And then the gala, which we're thinking, she's picking some days, hopefully in September, we're not sure when renovation will be done. One of the things we've talked about briefly is that for us to offset, again, you'll get into the brand new renovated courthouse, but there will be a ticket price because that's what offsets the cost for the catering, et cetera. So that most likely will be spearheaded by Friends, simply because it's inside our courthouse, that's our domain. So she's not incurring a lot of costs for that, but that's how a nonprofit organization is coming in under the umbrella of this subcommittee to create separate events throughout every month. She might not be doing every event. It might be Friends doing it 2 months. It might be someone else doing it another month. I know that Pix Theater is in it, et cetera. That being said, so that's kind of just giving you some background and how she's utilizing nonprofits to offset costs to keep it lower. One of the questions I have for, I think it would be the city attorney is, so this subcommittee already has 2 city commissioners on it, so I stay away from it totally. But is it okay if I'm having a conversation about Friends, the historic courthouse with Linda Glissman, individually one-on-one with this? Because I don't want to do any OMA violations, so I've been kind of hesitant. I'm not on this subcommittee, but I'm one of the nonprofits that she has, I have someone else from my committee assigned to her, Jill Lyon from Pix Theater, so that there's always kind of a barrier between us, but sometimes she has to come to me because I'm the person who does it, makes it all happen.
Mayor,
Yes, please.
I get concerned when there's a quorum of the council meeting or exchanging emails or on phone calls. If you and Ms. Glissman are talking by yourselves without, copying other people, things like that, that's acceptable. And you're not making any decisions.
No, she's just telling me what she'd like this Friends to do, and it has nothing really to do with the city commission. It just has to do with America 250. I just want to make sure that we're cool.
I can explain a little bit about this. When we had the meeting, everybody's throwing out their ideas, and there's lots of good ideas happening. So when someone came up with the gala idea, fine, you do it. I'm not gonna be part of that at all. I'm not gonna organize it. I'm not gonna give money to it. The Friends are gonna do it, and they're gonna handle it. So any conversation that we might have be back and forth might be, okay, what's your date, time, place, that kind of thing. It's nothing to do with the city per se. That's their own nonprofit organization. And the other thing is, when the ideas come up, we have Jill, who is amazing, Jill Lyons. In fact, I was going to do a shout out for her today. She handles, the art gallery and the Pix Theater, and she's on a gazillion boards. So she comes to our meeting to tell us what's happening, but we don't tell her what to do. She's her own business, her own nonprofit. She takes care of what they want to do. And they're going to have a concert, and perhaps with it, in conjunction with a picnic, or maybe a parade. But she's handling that. So basically, what I've done for the city is just bring in the nonprofits and say, oh, what do you want to do? And they handle it. I'm not micromanaging all of the nonprofits or people.
Mr. Brady.
So we're not taking any actions on anything tonight? Has the subcommittee fulfilled its responsibility as far as like the actual, you could certainly carry on doing what you're doing, I just don't, until there's something to take action on.
Right.
If I may, so I wasn't asking for any action on subcon, I just wanted to update, and just with that bit of information, Ms. Glissman, if that's the case, if any of these events are going to require special event approval, then those nonprofits would still have to seek that approval.
And they do it, not me, the
Okay.
nonprofit.
Yep.
Takes
Ms.
care of
Beaker.
that.
And I just wondered, Linda, if you could clarify, the 2 flagpoles that were thrown out there for an idea would be city property, and
Yes.
they're very costly, so they may be more than, we may not be able to afford them with only $15,000, because they're large flagpoles, so I don't know, we're all still in the
Yeah.
process of that, so, just so people know, the 15,000 isn't for like napkins and tablecloths and stuff.
No, the 15,000 is just kind of a number we threw out. It represents about $1.50 per resident. And one of the suggestions was to put a flagpole on the east side of the city and the west side. on the west side of the city to put it on DeMille where the cupola went in, and put it kind of behind that as kind of an entrance to our city on that side. And on the east side, I think people thought the best place would be where you have the cupolas and it says, "Welcome to Lapeer." The wonderful thing about it is it's not as expensive as I thought it was going to be, because we have a flag company right here in Lapeer, Better Buy Flags, and they are offering us a fabulous deal based on 2025 prices for the flagpole, and also because we would get two, a $600 discount. So for about $3,000, and they put them in the ground, we get two flagpoles and flags. And the flagpoles on the top will be lighted so that you don't have to take the flags down. They can stay up all night. The only time the flags would have to come down and go back up is when the governor says that they have to come down because somebody important passed away. So that's the deal about the flagpoles, and that's why I'm kind of waiting to see if we can get some money from the city, earmark it for the America 250, and then have part of that money go to flagpoles east and west side. But that would have to be whose decision? I don't know, commission's.
Thank you.
Okay.
Commissioner McCarthy.
Just one last thing, and I don't know if Jill has brought it up to you, but she's in negotiations with Brandon Marsalis, who's a jazz player. She has a couple windows of time that she can bring him in. She knows what his fee is. She's not having him at the Pix Theater. She's having him on the courthouse porch if she can get it, and she's in the midst of writing. So you understand when you get these different entities doing this, they're all working on different issues to bring it all together so that they have different things throughout. So he would be, again, she's working with me to get him on the courthouse lawn if she can get him in, and she's writing a grant right now to offset the cost of him because of the cost. Tickets would be probably pretty expensive, but she wants to be general public availability to him, cost efficient type of thing. So there's a whole lot of people working on a lot of things.
Thank you. All right. Mr. Womack.
That's all I have, thank you.
All right, very good. That brings us to the city attorney's report. Mr. Francis.
Nothing tonight, Mayor, thank you.
Thank you. All right, unfinished business, we seeing none. That brings us to departmental communications, which we received the Downtown Development Authority. And then finally, public comments. Is there anybody that wants to provide public comment? Right.
Good evening. I was going to give you a dissertation on tax increment financing authority and all that fun stuff. I'm not going to.
Thank you.
But I just want to extend this offer. I am the president of Northeast Oakland Historical Society Museum. I'm also a historian, and my undergrad degree is in English and history, early American history. And and I've also worked with agencies like the Smithsonian Institute and the Detroit Historical Society and Museum to curate large-scale exhibitions where I work. So I will extend this offering to you as a resident. If there's anywhere that you need me to serve on any capacity in any committee, maybe I should join this courthouse group. I really didn't know about it. But quite frankly, if there's anywhere I can help and lend some information or some historical context or just help you curate for something like this, the offer stands.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Brian. Any others?
I would love to give a dissertation on tax increment financing.
Oh,
I won't.
good.
We'll just say, Mr. Womack, when putting pipes and sewer and connectivity and roads in for a city is prohibitively expensive, perhaps the free market is trying to tell you something. The trade-off would be that the city would retain for the next 15, but extendable to 30 years, $2,649.14 total per year. On the property, you receive what you're getting now. If you open up the door to tax increment financing for a builder like Alan Edwin, This means that they are going to make at the point of sale, if they actually find someone who, because of the income restrictions, can buy a home at 4 times their annual income, they are going to be income restricted. This means that they're giving Allen Edwin at point of sale around $35,000, and for the next 15 years, $5,500 of their property taxes per year will continue to get reimbursed to the self-same developer, and that's for all the parcels. And that's what I said. I mean, the math is there. I'm on the right track when it comes to the math, and when I asked for clarity, it only made me even more concerned. We are saying as a city that we can't figure out in the next 15 years how to affordably put in water lines, sewer lines. I don't know, maybe our planning department could do what the rest of us have to do out there in the real world and innovate and figure out how to reduce cost. Because what you're gonna ask the city residents to do is bear an unfair burden. You're gonna ask them to provide all of the services for all of these homes, and the city's not going to retain any of the property taxes. And it's a trade-off. That's why I say, do we want homes for the sake of homes? The free market is trying to tell you something. It's trying to either tell you to change your ways, or it's trying to tell you that the market cannot bear what you are gonna artificially subsidize, and you're going to nuke your own rental market. You are going to build what are essentially 112 de facto subsidized rental homes, because they have an operational agreement with Copper Bay, and they're going to take the property tax kickbacks, you know, those things that used to be illegal for cities to do, and they're going to use them to artificially reduce the rate of their renters. And so inland, when I was talking about luxury apartments, I'm not talking specifically about the Opera House. I know that there's only so much you can do there. I'm talking about a philosophy in general as a city, that we want wealth, prosperity, increased property tax revenue. And again, this plan, if you open up the door for Allen Edwin, will give you none of that for a long time. And you're gonna be putting people in houses that they can't afford without subsidies. So again, Lapeer is in a virtual cycle of subsidized renters.
Thank you, Mr.
Right.
Weber.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any others?
I just have a question for the discussion when we have for the SDRK. So is the lawyers going to be present, and can somebody else be a professional be with him to explain, or is it for one person only?
Could you please state your name?
Andy Shangle, the
Thank
owner
you.
of SDRK.
And unfortunately for public comment, we don't do question and answer between the public and the commission. But what you could do is please see Mr. Womack. Could you field that question outside of the meeting?
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
thank you. Any others? All right, seeing none, we'll close public comments and we'll move to closing comments from the commissioners. We'll start with Commissioner McCarthy.
Don't have a whole lot to say, just happy Valentine's Day, because I won't see any of you before then.
Thank you. Commissioner Atwood.
Thank you, Mr. LaMagma, for all your work you do for us downtown. Again, you could have picked anywhere. For some reason, you picked the city of Lapeer, and I hope you feel welcomed and encouraged to make more investments into our historic downtown, because it has turned around. And I've said this before, a lot of downtowns can be kind of blighted by out-of-town landlords that aren't investing in their exterior buildings or interior buildings. I hope whenever we can come side by side with developments such as this nature, we see the value in what it can bring. We keep tossing around the term low income. When I first was married and moved here in 2003, I guess I would consider myself in that AMI percentage. And so I take it kind of to heart when we say, you know, we're looking for other income levels. Well, I'm grateful that the city of Lapeer had something for me to purchase. I probably overpaid back then, definitely overpaid. I was able to get a grant to fix up the exterior of the home, remove lead-based paint, because of my income level. And that's just a fact of life. That's what I did. It was an option for me, and I'm grateful for that. And, you know, I'm not ashamed of that, but we have to be careful when we're throwing around terms like this. When we say like low-income housing, everyone's an individual, and we have to treat everyone with respect, no matter their income level, because we don't want to put people in a box and say you're not welcome here, or we don't want you here, because times can change. People can get better jobs. They have to start somewhere. So just to put things in perspective of, you know, I don't want to miss out on another individual talent who could bring stuff to the city, different perspectives, because they have no place to live or they can't get a residence here. This is not just a Lapeer issue, this is statewide. It has every city looking at options to provide housing, because we're losing our young talent. They're going to other states. Michigan's been in decline for years in just about every area. This is something we talk on the league level, is how do we retain that talent and retain our younger youth, because that's our next generation of leaders. If you look around every nonprofit organization, nothing against older people, but a lot of them are on those boards, and who is gonna step up and be the next leadership, like who's gonna take my seat? And if that person is living in a downtown apartment and eventually moving on to a home, I would like to grant that opportunity to that individual. And I think we did the right thing here tonight. As far as the other projects that are coming to town, I would like to look at all of our options, not give away the piggy bank, so to speak, but I have to do my due diligence, see what's out there. And I haven't even seen a proposal yet from Edwin Allen Homes, so we want to obviously stay ahead of the horse and the cart, but also think longevity and what will prosper the city in the future. And if we don't look at those opportunities or what they have nowadays, I think we're not doing our due diligence. It doesn't mean we move forward, or if we can't come to some sort of agreement that benefits both parties, you know, we're hearing and listening both sides, and we want to know what's out there at least, to see if we can provide homes for people who want to move to Lapeer, because it's sweet.
Thank you, Commissioner Howard.
Yeah.
Commissioner Glisman.
Oh, I think I've said quite enough
Very
tonight,
good.
so I'm gonna pass.
Commissioner Brady.
First off, I hope that we're not going back to the mayor tells each commissioner when to go. I wasn't really a big fan of that one. Sometimes, even though there may not be any negative intention, that can be used to an advantage or a disadvantage from time to time. I've preferred what we've done the past couple meetings, and just anybody who has comment can go out and say when they want. I would echo what Commissioner Atwood said. I fit in that income bracket. That's me. I've got 3 boys and a wife, and I'm a teacher, and I'd like to think I contributed to my community. So I hope that we continue to go ahead with projects. I'm cautious, of course, about the concerns that we've had brought before us. I think that we are looking at it. We haven't seen a proposal. We do need some houses. We get to decide, right? We're on the horse. We got the cart, the horse. We're on the horse. We get to decide what we want as a city. We represent our city. We can decide the deal that we want. We've got great staff that can help us walk through that. So I think it's an exciting time. I don't want to get into a 10 years ago we should have scenario when all the builders go and find their places that they want to build, and then we don't have what we need when we need it. So we're forward looking. I hope that the public understands that. So that's all.
Thank you. Commissioner Petrie.
First of all, I want to thank Mr. Weber for all your input. I appreciate hearing all that you have to say. Mr. LaMagna, thank you too for doing what you're doing. And although I think you were reluctant to share your future plans, I have to say that the building that burnt down was my great-grandfather's, and it was 3 stories, and the bottom level was his restaurant. The middle level was a dance hall or venue, people had dances and stuff there, and then the top level was my great-grandpa, and then my grandfather's apartment, so their first child was raised in that apartment. So it's just kind of exciting to bring that back to our downtown. The last meeting, Mr. Chipolewski, nobody welcomed you. And so I wanted to welcome you and thank you for being here in Chief Howe's absence. Thank you. Thank you everyone that comes, attends these, and to our staff, especially to our City Hall staff that have had to put up with the leaky, stinky, hopefully not stinky anymore, I can't smell anything, but so sorry that you've had to put up with that. Hopefully we get new carpeting, new floor, it all smells new, and good. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Womack.
Thank you. So I'll dovetail into what Ms. Petrie just indicated. We had a water leak downstairs, was it last Sunday now? We've had Pro in, they've been great to work with, and they dried it out right quick. It's something actually I noticed this morning was last Friday, it still stank pretty bad in here, and today you can't smell anything. Obviously, in addition to that, the staff members who've been affected by that, they've been great. Very little complaining, but they've really pulled through, and I've got, 4 or 5 staff members working in this room over here, and the DPW helped move all the desks and move everybody around. Mr. Vogt, helped set up the IT. They've just been really great. I also want to thank the Parks and Rec Department, in particular Lori and Rodney. We had a medical incident over at the rec center this morning, and they helped with chest compressions to get that person into the hands of medical professionals. And as I understand it, she at least was awake and conscious when she left our facility. I don't have an update since then. But it's just great to hear that kind of stuff from my staff. I know they always go above and beyond for the public. Just kind of a joke. We were talking about Deponio and some of the online public comments about how they've been trashed online about being the worst, whatever. City Hall of Cedar Springs has been labeled the worst restaurant in Cedar Springs for the last 8 years. And that's a public comment that was made on our Google Maps page. Sometimes people say silly things online, and I'm not entirely sure that they're true. You can still go; it's still there. And then for my friend Ms. Glissman, trying to get back to the history lessons. Today is the anniversary date of the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, which ended the Mexican-American War in 1848. And while I'm not a Mexican-American War guy, I'm a Civil War guy. And a lot of the generals that fought in the Civil War, which would happen 13 years later, fought in the Mexican-American War. And that is all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Womack. All right. I'd like to echo the thanks and gratitude to our staff, especially. This week has been, well, not just this week, but the past 2 weeks have been especially challenging, but at the same time, exciting to see how people pull together and get things done with the water main break, with shuffling things around, with mitigating all of that and all the conversations that were happening. And yes, people covering other people and just overall the work that's being done in the city. I've heard nothing but good things from constituents and residents as of late, and it's very encouraging, especially as we're facing challenges that we have such a great staff and team that doesn't miss a beat and doesn't use the inconveniences as an excuse. But still raises the bar to quality. And I hope we can continue to improve and continue to provide that level of excellence and quality. With that being said, I've noticed also with our public comments, we've seen a shift over the past several meetings. More residents are showing up and asking informed questions. More are bringing research and constructive input to this body. And I want to thank you. Every one of the people who stood up for public comments tonight has embodied that sentiment, and that's exactly what civic engagement should look like. Thank you guys. You guys all should be applauded for that. But I'll be direct. You know, the reason that it stood out to me today is because public comment has been, in the past, been a platform for personal attacks and defamation and speech that doesn't contribute much to the governance of the city. And freedoms have been cited recently, but freedom is not a license to do harm and to be evil to one another. And using 3 minutes to tear down or accuse or stir division just does not serve Lapeer. It doesn't advance anything, and it doesn't reflect well on anyone. So in the meanwhile, we'll continue to preside over orderly meetings and continue to protect the time of this body and the public, and I thank those who come here to build up rather than to tear down. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. And to your point, Mr. Womack, I've been reflecting on something over the past couple of weeks too, regarding what you just said. Sometimes people say things, silly things online, and they're not entirely true, and it doesn't just stop at online. Sometimes it's in other places. Recently, just earlier this month, there was a reporting on how the commission had handled some meetings back, some minutes, meeting minutes back earlier this month on January 5th. And this body voted 4-1 to come into compliance going forward with minute meetings in spite of some customs, and nobody's to blame for that. And I think it was pretty clear that it was stated that way. However, what was reported didn't reflect that accurately. It mischaracterized some of the motives and characters and things that were said that night. So I want to encourage residents that in spite of what you read online or what you might read on a piece of paper, it's not always true, as Mr. Womack had pointed out. And it's good to do your own due diligence, show up at the meetings, be involved, be engaged, be positive, or watch them online and judge for yourself what's being reported to you, whether it's fair and accurate. Residents, I encourage you in that way, because accurate reporting matters. And when the public is misled about what their elected officials actually said and did, it damages trust, not just in this body, but in the institutions that are supposed to inform our community. That should not be tolerated. It only perpetuates discord. Tonight, you saw these commissioners ask a lot of hard questions. You saw them request information, take their time before voting on significant decisions and issues. Now, in the past, some have criticized that approach and suggested that questions should be asked maybe privately or before meetings, and that we should move faster. But I'll remind everyone what due diligence accomplished at our last meeting. Commissioner Petrie had identified that the 425 agreement with Mayfield Township listed an expiration date of 2071 when it should have been 2051. That's an extra 20 years of city obligations that would have gone unnoticed. Yet it was caught because this commission pushed back and asked questions. And yes, it was pushed out a couple of meetings, and that was criticized a little bit. But it wasn't obstruction, it was governance. And I'm proud of the commission for doing that. Doing this work is hard. Asking hard questions, demanding transparency, protecting the city's interests. It deserves recognition, not ridicule. And I'll continue to support that approach in these commissioners when they do that. They're doing their due diligence, and I encourage residents to pay attention to that and support your elected officials. Finally, I just want to say that, as you guys can see, the commission is stabilizing and our meetings are running smoother. Hard questions are being asked, yes, and accountability is returning. Yeah, the noise hasn't disappeared, but it no longer controls the room. And to the residents who are engaged, informed, and constructive, I thank you. That's what this city needs, and we need more of that. And I encourage that and welcome all of you. Thank you all. Thank you tonight. And with that, is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Move to adjourn.
Second. Meeting adjourned.